We're talking with Dale Perram of Perram Electric in Wadsworth, Ohio. Dale's been a member of Chief Executive Boards for some time. Dale, how long has that been?
Some time. more than 10 years. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. So you've been attending meetings 4, 5, 6 times a year for that long?
Exactly.
Excellent. What is it that keeps you coming back to those meetings?
What I find out I get out of these meetings is kind of a recharging of my thought process. In other words, as executives, we have very few resources to bounce ideas off of that don't have a dog in a fight or a baggage associated with their answers. And I can bring anything I feel that is bothering me, anything that is bothering me, into this meeting, and I get very candid, very forthright, and very honest responses, and that helps me make up my own mind as the direction I want to take the company or what moves I want to make in relationship to the problem.
Now, how do you find that's better than just kind of working on it in your own background time or offline time?
It's kind of like inventing the wheel. I mean, we could sit around and invent the wheel every day and have some success, although I'm sure the first one would come out a little square. The resources of the board, many people have already gone through this procedure, done this, had this problem, or had similar problems that they can relate. And that helps me, their experiences help me build a rational decision.
You have people within your business that you might be able to bounce things off of, yet you bring some of these things to outside parties, people outside your own business.
Yeah, that's correct. And the reason is because everybody within the organization has, like I said before, a dog in the fight. They have some bias that they bring to their answer that doesn't necessarily give a nice, clean, true answer. Sometimes it's a friendship or a relationship with a person that I may not even know about. Sometimes it's a direction that they would like to see an answer take that gives them special interest, things like that. I don't have any of that kind of taint associated with my answers, the discussions that we have in the meeting here.
Excellent. You're also real active in a trade association within your industry, the contracting industry.
That's correct.
Tell me about the differences between those.
I belong to a second peer group, and it's an industry-based peer group. That has values also, but I find that what we have a tendency to do in that peer group is talk more about the mechanics of running that particular industry instead of the larger picture associated with a cross-industry trade or peer group like CEBI. Likewise, I have another friend who is in the ABC, or the industry-specific peer group, and he has also gotten into a cross-industry peer group on his own and has had a similar response to a question like that.
Interesting. The other thing that happens in these meetings, of course, is you get ideas that you may not even have had questions about. What are some of the kinds of things, if you could think of an example of some of the kinds of things that you've just learned in a Chief Executive Boards meeting that you didn't even maybe realize you didn't know?
Oh, well, there's just so many, you know, our knowledge is based on our own individual experience base. And the questions that other people ask may have not yet been an issue in my life or in my company's life, and therefore it's just something that has never really come up.
Let's talk about your business overall. You've been doing this for some time. How would you, is it possible to characterize what's different about your business had you not had this resource available?
I think the number one difference is I shouldn't say allowed, it forced me CEBI forced me to look at my business from a totally different perspective. Many time business owners, and we probably were in the $2 to $3 million sales range when we started with CEBI. You're so immersed in the day-to-day activities that it's very difficult to see the large picture and where you need to go as the CEO of an organization to make and to allow that company to grow. At this point, we're doing about $15 million a year, and I credit much of the growth strictly to my meetings at CEBI and the very candid and very honest conversations we've had that have made me look at myself and how I run my business and how sometimes I can be a roadblock to my own business. It's growing, and removing those roadblocks are critical. So I really credit CEBI with a lot of that kind of philosophy change in my life.
If you were talking with someone today doing, say, $2-3 million worth of business, person in that situation sometimes has the question of, do I have the time for this? Do I have the money for this? What kind of suggestions would you give that person?
That's always a big issue. I mean, when you're running around with your head cut off, it's kind of hard to find time to do anything. I guess the real answer to that question in my mind is you make time. All of us make time for things that are important to us. It may be golf. It might be working 80 hours or 100 hours in your company because that's what's important to you. CEBI is not a huge time commitment, but it is a huge return on that time commitment. And what you'll find out is that an investment of small periods of time periodically during a year returns multiple times the benefits by the increase of knowledge and increase of effectiveness of yourself over the period of that year.
So you believe a day spent with your chief executive board is better than a day spent in the office working on the paperwork?
I would say a day spent with CEBI is better than a week spent at the office, easily, doing paperwork.